Namaste friends, welcome back to YogaCandi. My name's Candace and today I have gentle yoga for you. It's definitely yoga for beginners, but if you would like any props, feel free to have a couple of books or yoga blocks handy, or maybe even a strap or rolled up towel. This is totally optional, or even a thick cushion, something to prop your hips up onto. So we're going to start off in a nice comfortable seated position, any seat of your choice. And we're going to just sit up nice and tall through the spine, sucking the belly in ever so slightly, drawing the shoulders back and down, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Let's take our hands either to the knees or just place them gently in your lap. Close your eyes and we're just going to start to tune into the inner body before we begin our class today. Start to already cultivate a nice softness within your mind and within your body. Remembering to love every part of yourself. You are divinity. You are a beautiful part of this universe. Allow all your thoughts to pass. And if any thoughts come into your head, pay them no attention and allow them to pass like a cloud on a blue sky. When you're ready, we're going to start to take our inhales and our exhales nice and deeply in and out of the nostrils, sending the breath deep into the belly, and on every exhale lift up through the pelvic floor and through the abdominals. So you're slightly engaging the abdominals as you exhale. You can always begin to engage your Ujjayi breath and carry that with you throughout the practice today. If this breath is not familiar to you, then just keep your inhales and exhales nice and long and deep, always through the nose, unless you need to release the air through the mouth. Then that's okay to do once in a while. From here, you can open your eyes and we're going to change the position of the legs. If you're in a cross-legged position like me, that is, just put the opposite leg on top or the opposite leg in front. And we're going to do some little rolling of the spine. So imagine you're a coffee grinder. Start to take some circles in one direction. Any direction of your choice. You can close your eyes, taking the hands to the knees. And as you come back behind you, pulling those shoulder blades apart. So you're feeling through that lower and upper spine. Just working out any tension that you may have within the body. Try to keep your sit bones on the ground, but don't worry if your knees come up with the back bend. Take one more little circle. We're going to go in the opposite direction. Take a couple more here. And just become still. Let's take our left hand over towards the left side of the mat. Turn your chest to face towards the sky. We're going to inhale and do some arm circles with this right arm, just nice big circles. You can follow the arm with your eyes, so watch the hand as it comes up, inhaling, exhaling as it goes down. Take one more. And let's do 3 in the opposite direction. So inhale up, exhale down. Come back to center. You're going to take it over to the other side. Inhaling the arm up to the sky, exhaling down. Take your time, watch the fingers. Do this at your own pace. Take one more. And rotate in the opposite direction. Just 3 in this direction. And then back to the center. Hands to the knees. Inhale, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, arch. Pull the spine apart. Pull those shoulder blades apart. Drop the chin towards the chest. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, arch. One more. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, arch. And release. Let's come onto our knees. So come into your tabletop, stack the hips above the knees and stack the shoulders above the palms. Make sure you're not sinking into the shoulders like this and creating that back bend in your back. You want to keep nice and neutral, so you're lifting up through the shoulder blades. You're pulling them apart and you're keeping your spine nice and neutral. From here, tuck the toes of the right foot and let's lift the left foot to the sky. Then lift the right arm to the sky. So opposite arm and opposite leg. You can look straight ahead or straight down. Let's hold this just for a few breaths. Sucking in that lower belly. And release. Do the same on the other side. Tuck the toes of the left foot. Inhale the right leg up and the left arm up. Look in any direction that's better for your neck. Take a few deep breaths. And release. From here on your tabletop, just start to do some circles with the tailbone in one direction. So you're arching the spine and you're dropping the belly. Now rotate in the opposite direction. Take one more circle and back to neutral. We're going to thread the needle. Take your right arm underneath the left, come over onto the right shoulder blade. You can just stay here with your left hand still planted on the ground. Take the left hand to the bum or take it and interlace, finding the inside of the right leg. Take a few deep breaths here. Release, send yourself back up, and let's go over to the other side, taking this left arm underneath the right, coming down onto the left shoulder blade. You can stay up on the right fingertips, you can find the spine, or you can find the inside of this left thigh, finding a little grip inside the thigh. 3 deep breaths. And release. Walk your hands back towards the heels. You can leave the feet so that they're not tucked anymore. You can bring the knees together, bring the heels together as well. And we're going to do rabbit pose. So start to bring the crown of the head down towards the ground, and then lift up through the spine, holding onto the backs of the heels. So you can keep the feet tucked if this is more comfortable. Make sure you're putting no pressure on the crown. The crown is very, very lightly touching the ground. Spreading those shoulder blades apart, lifting up through the spine, sucking in the belly. Take a couple of deep breaths. And release. Keep those feet tucked this time. We're going to send our bum all the way back onto our heels. If this is not possible, feel free to take a cushion and place it behind the heels and the bum. So a little bit of yoga for the toes. Move that baby toe so that it's also tucked. Sorry. Yes, tucked. I forget which is tucked and which isn't. Anyway, you're on top, you're on the toes. Just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths. Now inhale the hands to the sky and take a back bend. And release. Let's take our hands forward. We're going to come up into our first downward facing dog. Keep your feet hip distance apart, hands shoulder distance apart. Just start to walk your dog, and don't worry if your dog doesn't look like mine. If your heels are still lifted, that's absolutely fine. With time, you may find that flexibility will start to grow. For now, just try to find some comfort within your dog, sucking in the lower belly, placing the weight in the palms in all 4 corners and all the padding of the hand, not just in the wrists, to protect the wrists from future injuries. Make sure your spine is nice and neutral and long. You can either have straight legs or you can keep them bent, whichever is more comfortable for your body. And wherever you are today, that's absolutely fine. Find a stillness, look between the legs, and let's take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale the right leg up, just halfway, and make little baby circles in one direction. Just a few little circles. And then in the opposite direction. Now exhale, bend that knee, bring it to your chest. You're now forward, hands are stacked underneath the shoulders, and we're going to come down for our pigeon pose. Slowly bring the knee of the right leg behind the right palm and the foot behind the left palm. You're going to slowly start to wiggle that back leg all the way back behind you. Now you may need a cushion to prop up this right hip. Perhaps you don't have the flexibility to come down into pigeon. And the closer the heel is of the right foot towards the crutch, the easier this pose is going to be for you. The more squared off the foot is with the top end of the mat, the harder it's going to be. And in fact, depending on your body's makeup, you may never be able to square it off at the front of the mat. I've been practicing yoga for quite a few years now, and I still cannot get it parallel with the front of the mat. So Maybe that's just the makeup of my body. Maybe I'll never be able to, and that's okay too. Yoga is not about being able to do very gymnastic type positions and poses. It's more about finding inner peace within each pose. Connecting your mind, your body, and your spirit. Trying to cultivate what yoga was really truly about. So some alignment tips for pigeon is make sure that both your hips are squared off with the front of the mat, and you want your left hip, because we've got our right leg forward, so this left hip should be pointing down towards the ground. It shouldn't look like this. If it's looking like this, then you really need to prop up this right hip. And if it's looking like that, then perhaps take figure 4 instead of the pigeon. Feel free to take an alternative pose if this is just not the pose for you. The stretch you're going to feel is down the front of this left leg. So you're going to feel a lovely stretch in the psoas of the left leg, and then you're also going to feel perhaps even the IT band and an opening of the hip here on the right side. You can just stay up on your palms, or you can always come down to the forearms and just rest, keeping the neck and the spine nice and long in one long straight line. Wherever you are, let's all close our eyes and take a few deep breaths. And release. If you're down on the forearms, make your way back up. Tuck the toes of the left foot, and we're going to lift up and find our way into downward facing dog. Take your time getting there. You may notice when you walk your dog this time that this right leg feels a lot easier than the left. Now let's take a very slow walk up to the front of the mat. Exhale, fold over the legs, bend the knees as much as needed. Hold on to each elbow, hang heavy. Now inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, to the floor or the thighs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, take your time. And inhale, the hands above the head, watch the palms as they touch. Exhale, the hands to the side of the body. Take a moment in your mountain, close your eyes, suck in the belly. Now inhale the left leg to the sky and step all the way back. A nice big step for a high lunge, keeping the front foot 90-degree angle to the ground, the back heel off of the ground. Inhale the hands to the sky, look up. Exhale, open up to warrior 2, back foot 90-degree angle to the ground, to the back of the mat. Look over towards the right fingertips, bend into the front knee. Take a deep inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale, twist the hips to face the front of the mat, back in for a high lunge. Inhale, hands to the sky, look up. Exhale, fold over the front foot. So we're framing the right foot. You can make a little bit of a rocking movement here in your lunge. And then very slowly take that left knee down to the ground, finding our low lunge, stretching through the psoas here on the left side. Keep the hips squared with the front of the mat and allow your hips to just sink deeply towards the ground, giving into gravity. And exhale, straighten the front knee as much as you can. You can always use some blocks to prop your hands up on top of, if it's too much to be able to touch the ground. Lifting the toes of the right leg up towards the sky, keeping the knee engaged if you've got the leg straight. Find a lovely stretch here in the hamstring. And release. Come back into your low lunge, bending through the front knee. Place the palms on the ground, lift the back leg off the ground, step back into a plank. Lift up through the shoulders. We're all going to exhale all the way down to the belly. Keep the elbows close to the body. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, make your way to your downward facing dog. Give your feet a little walk back in your dog. And now let's lift the left leg only halfway up. Do little circles, or you can make them as big as you like in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. And then exhale this knee to the chest, rolling forward. Let's come down for our pigeon, placing the left knee behind the left palm, the foot behind the right palm. Remember, the closer the heel is to the crutch, the easier it's going to be. Slowly make your way down. You can always prop this left hip up onto a pillow or maybe a block, whatever you have handy. Find some movement just to start to work through these muscles. Maybe a gentle rocking. Make sure that this right hip is still pointing down towards the ground. You don't want it to be too lifted. In fact, you don't really want it to be lifted at all. So if you need to prop the left hip a little higher in order to gain that alignment, then feel free to do that. You can just stay here feeling this out, up on the palms, closing the eyes, or you can come down onto the forearms, leaning over this left leg. Wherever you are, find a stillness and a softness within. Let's take 3 deep breaths. If you're down on your forearms, make your way back up, tucking the toes of the right foot. Let's lift the knee off the ground and make our way into downward facing dog. Nice little walk with the legs. You may notice that the legs are feeling a little more like each other now, like they're both starting to loosen up for you. From here, let's take a very slow walk back to the top of the mat. Heel in front of the toe. Bend the legs whenever you need to. And hang heavy, holding on to each elbow. Bend the knees as much as needed. Just make sure you suck in the belly. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hands to the sky, touch the palms above the head, look up. Exhale, mountain, hands to the sides of the body. Take a deep inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. You can do that one more time. Inhale the right leg to the sky this time and take a deep step all the way back for our high lunge. Land as slowly as you can. Heel lifted off the ground. Hips squared with the front of the mat. Inhale the arms to the sky. Look up. And now exhale. Open the hips out wide. Bending through the front leg. Back foot, 90-degree angle to the back of the mat. Look at the front fingertips, look at those left fingertips and just past them. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, twist the hips back to the front of the mat for a high lunge. Arms to the sky, look up. And come on down, frame the front foot. Slowly bring that back knee down to the ground for our low lunge. Giving into gravity, letting the hips sink down low. Keep those hips squared with the front of the mat. On your next exhale, take the hips behind you, straightening through the front leg. Toes point up towards the sky. Remember, you can always use your block to place your hands onto. Make sure you're framing either side of this front foot. You're keeping your spine nice and long and your hips squared with the front of the mat. One of the best ways to square off the hips is to bring this left hip slightly back and the right hip very, very slightly forwards. It's a very minute movement. Exhale, come on forward, back in for the low lunge. Take a moment here. Now tuck the toes of the back leg, lift up through the knee. Plant the hands either side of the foot, step back into plank. Take a nice strong plank, lifting up through the shoulder blades. Exhale all the way down to the belly. Inhale for baby cobra or full cobra. Exhale all the way down to the belly. Open your knees as wide as the mat, feet still together. We're coming in for a wide-legged child's pose. Extend the arms out long, forehead down to the ground. Just allow the hips to sink lower and lower to the ground. If your bum is very lifted and you don't have the flexibility for your bum to touch your heels, you can always place a cushion or your prop underneath your bum. But wherever you are, just give in to gravity, sinking towards the ground. Enjoying this gentle hip opener. You can make some movement, maybe moving the hips from side to side very, very gently. And then find a stillness. Just taking nice deep breaths here. Now walk your hands over towards the left side of the mat, just stretching out the right body. Rest your head down and feel that stretch down the right arm, maybe even through the side body, keeping those hips squared, facing down towards the ground. And then walk the hands all the way over towards the right side of the mat, stretching out the left body. On every exhale, lift up through that pelvic floor and through the belly. And back to center. Very slowly make your way back up onto your knees. Now take any seat of your choice, or you can even just bring one foot in towards the crutch and keep the other foot, the other knee elevated. So this can act as like a prop. We're just going to end with a little breathing technique. So take your right arm to the right knee or your left arm to the left knee, depending on which one you've got elevated. We're going to close off the 3 middle fingers. So we've only got our baby finger free and our thumb free. Or you can take, no, let's do it this way. This is easier. Let's take our index finger and our middle finger to the third eye. Then you're going to use your baby finger and your ring finger to close off the left nostril and exhale out the right. Once you've exhaled fully, you're going to close the right nostril and you're going to inhale fully in through the left. So all inhales are through the left, all exhales are through the right. Let's give this a go. You can always clear your nose quickly before we begin. Have a nice big sniff. And then let's begin. So index finger, middle finger on the third eye. Take a deep inhale through both nostrils. Close off the left, exhale all the air out the right. Nice and slowly. Close right, inhale slowly through left. Close left, exhale slowly through right. Close right, inhale slowly through left. Keep doing this at your own time, at your own pace. Find 3 more. Now release your hand, keeping the eyes closed. Find a comfortable seat and breathe totally naturally. Don't force anything. The natural breath and rhythm of your inhales and exhales, feel them in the chest and in the belly. You can stay here breathing as long as you like. If that's what you want to do, just allow my words to pass and enjoy your moment of peace and presence. If you would like to end the class with me, then with the eyes closed, we're going to inhale nice and deeply, raising the hands above the head, touching the palms. Allow the face to face towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bow your head and take this peace and silence that you've created in today's practice with you throughout the day or throughout your evening. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste. You can open your eyes. I hope you've enjoyed this gentle yoga flow. If you have, give me a thumbs up, share it, and let me know in the comments how you got on. Don't forget, guys, you can connect on a deeper level with me on social media. So find me on Instagram and Facebook. Just look for YogaCandi, or there's all my links below in the description. So feel free to take a little browse and we'll get to know each other a bit better. Until next time, namaste everybody.